Good evening. About time to begin our evening worship service, and I'd like to welcome everyone out to worship with us tonight. And if you're visiting with us, we're glad to have you and consider you our honored guest and welcome you to visit with us every opportunity that you have. Got a few quick announcements before we begin our worship. Some of our kids are over in the old auditorium. They had puppet practice today, getting ready for the convention. So that's where some of them are. And good to see Brother Mike Johnson and his wife Jenny. They just walked in. He told me they may be running a few minutes late because they had to shuffle some kids around after church this morning and then make that 3-hour trip over here. So it's good to see them. I think I called him Mike Brooks this morning. But anyway, it's not Mike Brooks that's here. It's Brother Mike Johnson from East Point. And he'll be bringing us a presentation this evening. First of all, let's remember all those that are on our prayer list, and we got quite a few of our members that are in need of our prayers with one illness or another. And as I mentioned this morning, Brother Keith, it's good to see him out now, and I hope he continues to improve. Sarah is going for a CT scan on the April the 6th, so please keep Sarah Garrett in your prayers. And then there's others on here. Some of them are able to be out with us, some aren't, but some they have recovering or either going for treatments of some kind. So let's keep all these in your prayers. And Brother Landis said that Ken Egerton, he's been on our prayer list for quite a while. He's went and visited him today, and he's not doing well. So just keep all these various ones. The Lord knows their needs. So just pray for the Lord to answer their prayers. And let's remember all those that have requested our prayers that are friends and family of members here. And as I mentioned this morning, Brother James Lee's wife, Susan, passed away this week. And the service for her will be next Saturday, the 21st, at 10 a.m. at Joe Burns Funeral Home in Cary. And then the funeral service will follow that. Got a lot of things coming up in the next few weeks we need to be aware of. First of all, I forgot to mention this morning, Belinda. We need to keep Belinda in our prayers. Brother Bob had taken her to the emergency room yesterday, and I think she was still there maybe this morning waiting to see a doctor or something. She's having some blood issues or something. I'm not sure just exactly, but please keep Belinda in your prayers. And also had a couple of baptisms last Sunday, Aiden Sullivan and Easton O'Quinn. So we rejoice over that. Got Ladies' Day coming up this Saturday coming, and registration will start at 8:30 and end at 9, and things will begin at 9. And there will be some light breakfast food available. So come out, and if you haven't already signed up, please sign up so they can get a head count of how many plans to attend that. Florida Bible Camp registration is now open, and we plan to go the week that the Lake City Church of Christ group is going. So make sure you get your application in before that week fills up. I services. And they are registered at Amazon or on Amazon. Um, March the 29th, we will have a Friends Day and dinner. And then our boys will lead the evening service, our Lads to Leaders men, and possibly a puppet presentation too in the works. So then we got some other events coming, so just be aware of what's going on. Um, Also, Donna asked me to announce that if we could start getting some candy for Easter, uh, for the Easter egg hunt, you can start bringing that in. And who give it to you, Donna, or just leave it in the kitchen? Okay, kind of like we've been doing each year. Um, and then last but not least, please, if you haven't already paid your registration fees for the Lads to Leaders Convention, please see me or Aubrey or Brother Jimmy with those fees, and so we can get that paid up. That's the registration fees for Lads to Leaders. Okay, that's I think that about covers it. So I'm gonna turn it over to Brother Jimmy.
Number 639. Number 639, Rescue the Perishing. We're going to sing all four stanzas of this song.
Our Father in heaven, as we approach your throne at this hour, Father, we love you and we thank you for the blessings of this life and the blessings of this day and the ability we had to come out today and gather with those of like faith and sing songs praising your name and partake of a worship service this morning. And Father, we also this evening we thank you for Brother Mike, and we just pray that you be with him and his ministry out in the Panhandle, and we look forward to his presentation here tonight. And Father, we also know that this day that we have many of our members and loved ones that are dealing with sickness at this time. Father, we know that you know each and every one of their needs, and we just ask that you be with them and give them the healing only you can. Father, we also on this day pray for our service members that may be deployed in foreign lands and separated from the friends and family, and we ask that you be with those that may be involved in conflict in Iran at this point. And Father, we just ask that you be with each and every one of them, be with our leaders, and just keep each and every one of them safe and return them home. Father, we also just pray that you go with us through every day walks of our lives. And Father, we know there are times that we fall short of your glory, and in those times, Father, we just ask for your strength and most of all your forgiveness. And it's your name we pray. Amen.
Our song before Brother Mike comes up and gives the lesson will be number 417, Where He Leads I'll Follow. We're going to sing all three stanzas of this song, and we invite you to stand as we sing. Sweet are the promises, kind is the word, dearer far than any message man ever heard. Pure was the light of Christ, sinless I see. He, the great example, is a pattern for me. Where the Lord leads, I'll follow. All the way. Where the Lord leads, I'll follow. Follow Jesus every day. Sweet is the tender love Jesus has shown, sweeter far than any love that mortals have known. Kind to the erring one, faithful is He. He, the great example, is a pattern for me. Where the Lord leads, I'll follow. All the way. Where the Lord leads, I'll follow. Follow Jesus every day. Listen to His loving words, come unto me. Weary, heavy laden, there is sweet rest for thee. Trust in His promises, faithful and sure. Lean upon the Savior, and thy soul is secure. Where the Lord leads, I'll follow. All the way. Where the Lord leads, I'll follow. Follow Jesus every day. Please be seated.
Good evening. Good evening. Burlington, Santa Fe, you're mighty sweet to Jenny and me. You let us come back year after year and tell our stories, and we appreciate that. I'll preface this by just mentioning that Susan Lee, James Lee's wife, who was at East Point before us, she passed away yesterday, and so we grieve about that. James is in a nursing home now, so we all need to remember them in our prayers. Jenny and I are into our 7.5 year of ministry in East Point. And I was just thinking, Jenny, before I got up, and we've talked about this before, but sometimes it seems like it couldn't possibly have been 7.5 years, and then sometimes it seems like we've never done anything else. But whichever way we look at it, we love it. Our life is great. I think, driving up, I was thinking that's what I really want to communicate to you folks tonight is our life in ministry is wonderful. We would not have it any other way. We thank God for all that He has done by allowing us to do the work we do. I'm not going to talk a lot about the hurricane in 2018, Hurricane Michael, because I don't feel comfortable talking about a hurricane in a company of folks who were ravaged by tornadoes a few years ago. But I will say that you know the story. In 2018, we arrived in July, and then we had a little strong wind and hail called Hurricane Michael that did billions of dollars of damage across the Panhandle. And this is one of the trucks that came down bringing materials to us, and we experienced long lines of about a quarter of a mile long for people who had lost everything. We had food, water, cleaning supplies, supplies to clean up the yard, diapers, everything that anybody needs courtesy of Churches of Christ Disaster Relief out of Nashville. These are some folks, Bill Kennedy and Nancy Kennedy. They're kind of an interesting story for us. They were with us during that time of the hurricane. The first time I ever met Bill, I was just running through the building trying to get things out for the people who needed them. I didn't know Bill, he didn't know me. But I looked around and he was walking behind me, and he said, "Is there anything I can do to help you?" And I said, "Yes, please, pick up that box and just follow me." And that's how we met. And fortunately, they have come back to be with us. The top picture shows them. We met up with them at a little church called Weathers Heights Church of Christ in Wedowee, Alabama. They were attending there. They invited me to come over and preach, and lo and behold, there were Bill and Nancy. So we crossed paths there. Then they said, "We're moving back." So they're back with our congregation now. One thing that we've been able to do this year that we've been really happy about, Jenny and I have been able to spend more time with our children outside of church at ball games and parades, and it's something that I think's been important for the children. Many times they won't have parents with them, and they'll be alone, and we're able to show up and be somewhat parents to them. I know they had a luncheon. I'm not exactly sure what it was. Jenny was telling me, but they had a luncheon at school, and there were so many children, so many girls, I think, that you mentioned, that didn't have parents, didn't have anybody who would go with them. And we were out of town, and she couldn't, but Jenny said one after another texted and said, "Miss Jenny, will you come and sit with me at the luncheon?" So we have tried to fulfill those needs for our children during this year. Here are more of them. I believe that's at a parade. That parade's coming up again in a few weeks, but we enjoyed that. They enjoyed it. Our radio ministry continues. This is Michael. Michael Allen. He's the owner of the local radio station, Oyster Radio. We were at a parade a couple of weeks ago, and we were going to spend more time with our children during the parade, but Michael invited us to ride on the float for Oyster Radio, so we had a great time doing that, and then we got to spend time with all the children of ours who weren't on the float with us. We got to spend time with all of them. Our jail ministry Well, I'll start with that one. That's the picture on the right. That's an inmate that we were with. I am not yelling at him. I know better than to yell at an inmate. He and I are singing. We are singing a song that the inmates sing at the jail called Angels in Heaven Are Calling My Name. It's a song that they sing at baptisms. It's a song that they sing most anywhere because it's about one of two they know. But I'm not yelling at him. I'm singing with him. Our ministry to the homeless, is this picture on the left. This gentleman is named J.Y. J.Y. is an alcoholic. He's a drug addict. He's done that till he's lost his mind. But things were going great with J.Y. He was coming to the building 2 or 3 times a week. We were feeding him, giving him clothes. We had taken his old clothes and washed them and folded them and had him ready. And he showed back up at the building and said that we had stolen his clothes and we had stolen his Florida ID so he couldn't buy beer. So there are ups and downs with the homeless ministry. That's an unusual story, but it is the most recent one that we have working with that part of our population. Jenny's ministry with the children got off to not a slow start. It started with a bang, but not as many kids. She started out with 6. Our 4 little girls, who now are pretty much mythic in our story. She started with them. They were very hungry, very dirty. She would have to go into the house and get them out of bed and dress them for church. They came to church and they would just eat ravenously, and they intimated to us that they were hungry on Sunday mornings because they hadn't eaten anything since lunch on Friday. So she began with that. Then the other picture, we had a Versa, and she could not get that many children in there, so we said, well, we need a bigger car. So we got our Altima. I counted one day she had packed 15 kids in that Altima. She didn't get stopped by the sheriff. If she had, he would have let her go, because we have pretty much a license to do anything we want to in East Point. He has told me that he won't stop me for speeding because he figures if I'm in a hurry, it's for some important reason. So she could get by with that. I could get by with most anything I want to. But after the Versa and after the Altima, we were blessed with a van by a congregation called Pine Hill in North Alabama. And so she was able to haul a lot of kids if she makes 2 or 3 trips on a Sunday. And that's why we were late. A lot of kids to deliver. Well, I didn't get to go with her. I usually go back and help her on Sunday afternoon, but there were so many that I had to stay behind and keep some while she took the first load, and then I went with her on the last load. But as you can see after a day of outside and studying and learning, it can be a very sleepy affair for little ones. They can just get exhausted, and that's the story here with these kids. They're precious, they're sweet, they're little, they come to church tired. They want somebody to hold them. They want Jenny to have class with about 5 of them asleep on her lap. They want me to hold them till my back aches. But it's wonderful. But they usually get that good nap on the way home. There you can see at the bottom right, Jenny's class grew from the 4 little girls and Tommy into this crowd that she has here. There's probably about 30 kids there. That's for her kind of a slow day. It goes up to 40. But they still get tired and sleepy on the way home. But she has a great ministry with the children, as you know, going now. somebody told me a couple of days ago, they said, you are so fortunate. God has blessed you so much to have a wife like Jenny. And I said, I never forget that for one moment. But even if my wife, it would just be an honor to get to know her. Jenny works so hard in her ministry, and she is so successful and so full of love. I can't go to the grocery store with her because I look around and there'll be all these, I'm not making this up, there'll be all these kids who don't know her in any town where we go, and they'll be following her through the store, just drawn to her. And even if she is my wife, I know I'm bragging, but it's warranted. So I am glad that she's my wife, and just that I get to know her and spend time with her. It doesn't matter what she's doing, if she's teaching, if she's driving the van, if she's cooking, if she's holding children. She is a blessing to all. After her ministry really took off, this is what we came to be known as, is a congregation who takes care of children. All over the country and parts of the world, that's what we are considered. We are a church for children. Our adult population is growing, as I'll show you in just a minute. But that's what we're known for, is caring for children, clothing them, as you have helped us. I will get to that in just a moment, Ren. But you have helped us with them, but our work is feeding them, clothing them, loving them. My youth group started off a little bit sluggish. I had about, I think, 5 or 6 on a good day. Now it has grown. This is a group. One Wednesday night we combined the children that Jenny had, and a lot of these are in the youth group. We have started actually having to take them out at 10 years old to try to get some relief in her room. It's not big enough. So we're actually moving them out of there into the teen class, my class, at 10. So many of these children are actually in my class, but we had a little combination that night, some activities to do with all of them. But we do, much to our surprise, actually suddenly we realized one day that we have a youth group. And we've always had children, but now, thank God, we have teenagers and tweenagers, and I'll tell you more about them as we go along. Now, going from the very young to the not quite as young, this is the oldest member of East Point Church of Christ, Mr. Wayne Simmons. Mr. Wayne is 103 years old. Mr. Wayne has been with us almost as long as we have been there. She's now in a nursing facility, but it's just a great blessing that when we get to go and see Mr. Wayne, and she loves to see us. Her mind is still reasonably good. There's some confusion. She's very mobile. When she takes off on her walker, I actually have difficulty keeping up with her. So she's very physically capable and mentally also. This is a couple that we're very proud of. This is Milton and Sandra Cole, and you see Milton in the upper right, upper left photo. He takes part in the service. Here he is leading the closing prayer. You see some of our youth along with me gathered beside him. But what I wanted to say about them is one night they came to church and they joined our youth group. They came in with us, and also the lady to the left is Marcia. She came in there. So we like to say we had an expanded youth group that night. It went all the way from 10 years old to 80 years old, and we liked that. That was our youth group that night. We also have, in the larger picture, this is Gary and Sandy Hall. Gary teaches our Wednesday night class, and he filled in for Dirk, whom I'll introduce in just a minute, this morning. But Gary is doing amazing work in his class. He is meeting with people who are not saved, but they're seeking, and his class is absolutely amazing for them. They come and talk with me all the time about what they're learning and how they're progressing in the faith. I look at it like this. I think Jesus told Gary, I will make you a fisher of men, and he just started casting his net. It's really inspiring what he does. In the bottom picture, that is Dirk and Kathy Strunk. Dirk is a coach in our local high school, and Kathy's a teacher there. Dirk leads our Sunday morning class. Likewise, his class is amazing. The gentleman in the upper picture, this was a surprise to everybody in the congregation. This was a shock. His name is Ward Peters. Ward was in this big camper deal. I mean, it was huge. And he came through one Sunday morning driving from Texas going to Tampa. But he stopped and to worship with us. And after the service, he met me at the door and he said, I've been baptized, but could I be baptized again? And we were talking about that, and I said, well, that depends on the circumstances. It may not be necessary, but it's certainly fine if you want to be. And Bill was standing with me, and he said, well, why were you baptized? And Ward said, well, I was baptized as a child. I really didn't understand what it was about. And he looked at me and he said, would you baptize me? I said, of course I will baptize you. When do you want to be baptized? And he said, right now. And I said, well, all right, we'll get the pool ready and we'll go. And then I went back out to his camper and I said, Ward, I would not normally do this because when you said that, but I said, can we wait just a couple of hours? I said, I've got 2 services to preach at the deal. And they're waiting for me. If you can just give me time to come back and immediately baptize you. He said that would be fine. Well, the most amazing thing, when I got to the jail, we were having a service. I probably had about 40 men in there. And they can be a little rowdy and rambunctious sometimes. And they did kind of come in that way. But once I started preaching, they settle down just as much as you folks are. I never lost eye contact with them. They were hanging on every word. And I started talking about baptism. And this guy over to my left, he was probably about 300 pounds of pure muscle. And you know, you always think, oh me, what's this going to turn into? And he said, I've been baptized before, but I didn't understand what it meant. Can I be baptized again? I said, you surely can. And this boy, and I always tell these kids, I say, you are too young to be in here. Get out of here and stay out of here. But he looked around at me so humbly and he said, I've never been baptized. Can I be baptized? And I said, of course you can be baptized. And I looked around at the whole bunch and I said, I'll tell you what, before all of this is over, there are a lot of you who are going to be baptized, and you might as well get used to the idea. So that was 3 in that day who asked to be baptized. So I wanted to baptize those guys when I could, but it has to be scheduled. So on March 26th, I will baptize those 2 young men and any others that want to be baptized. Now then, Burlington Santa Fe. I cannot begin to tell you what you did for us last year. Ren, thank you for spearheading this project so much. Here's some handiwork, physical labor, folks, physical labor that Ren and Jimmy and Aubrey came down and did for us with others. What they're doing here is putting in a swing set, which I will show more about in just a minute. Made us an outdoor kitchen. Now, folks, who doesn't want an outdoor kitchen? Raise your hand if you don't want an outdoor kitchen. All right, there you go. Well, we've got one. Ours was a mess out there, and they put down this pea gravel. They brought an extra refrigerator for us. We have our griddle set up out there. All of that is in full use. It was in full bloom about 6 hours ago. It's wonderful. But Ren, there's an added bonus to that, which you might expect. Kids love playing in that gravel. I mean, it's downright inspirational. I saw one little girl about 2 years old, toys, and got in that gravel and put the rocks in, and I don't know what all she would do, and then she would pour them out, and that's their favorite toy. Then there's the pickleball area. You can see how much they enjoy that, and the swing set. I know, Jenny, I'll keep it moving. Then from the physical labor to the VBS, y'all thrilled our kids. When you left a bunch of happy kids behind, and that's what we want to thank you for, just coming and loving our kids. VBS, again, thank you all for doing that. Moving right along, I will introduce you, Oh, me, yes, I wax eloquent sometimes. I'll pick it up, folks. Sorry about that. I'll introduce you to a few people very, very quickly. This is Janacia Bunyan. Her sister is to her right, and that's her daughter that she's holding. And her nephew, who's cooking eggs. Janacia has custody of the girl on her right and the little boy cooking eggs. Their mother had to go to prison a few years ago and obviously lost custody through neglect. So Janacia got them out of the system and took emergency custody of them. This is her little girl, Journey. She's the one actually I was talking about playing in the pea gravel. And this is her sister on our left, Journey. They got off a little bit of a rough start, but things picked up a whole lot. You can see Jury is enjoying the swing set very much, and those two have blossomed, and they're absolutely precious. People say I spoil them. I don't. I just let them do anything they want to, but other than that, I drive a hard bargain with these kids. There's Jury now. You can see how she blossomed very quickly. This is a typical East Point Church of Christ story. Jenny was driving the van picking up a young girl named Brielle. Her grandmother babysat Jury and Journey, and they invited them to church. They started coming. Jury was probably 18 months old, not potty trained. The rule is they have to be potty trained. I ask Jenny all the time, how's that working out for you? How many diapers did you change today? An average of 3. But the Journey came with her, and that brought Janacia in, and that brought the brother and the sister in. So that's how we are growing. You may not remember, but you have seen Faith and Jordan in the past. They came to us. Their story was dismal. They are without a doubt, the dirtiest kids we've ever had come through, and respectfully, that's saying something. But I was thinking when I closed the door into her classroom when we were leaving, the first thing they did the first night they were there was tear the door off the wall. They were just wild. Didn't know how to behave at all. Their mother was pitiful at the time, drug addict, in and out of jail. Jenny went to pick these children up. They came to the door, no clothes on. Their mother came to the door, no clothes on. Jenny said, well, let's get you a blanket. She wrapped her up, and Jenny said she just collapsed in her arms, just sobbing. And Jenny went in and got the children dressed in dirty rags that she told me that she thought that the mother was getting them out of the trash can. But it was not. It was their clothes that, as you can see, they wore to church. But is there a happy ending to this story? What do you think? Will there be a happy ending? This is Faith and Jordan today. They are thriving. They are full of joy and full of life. They're clean. Their mother is clean from drugs. She is fully clothed in nice clothes. She sees that the children are clothed. It's a wonderful story. We love this story. We love to see this happen. There is that's Faith on our left, and there's Jordan, and Jordan is with Montana. And speaking of Montana, many of you know about Montana from the reports that I mailed to the congregations. Montana's just the light of my life. I'll be honest. This is a picture of Montana as a baby. That's when we got to know her. Her mother showed up at the church building one morning. We still lived there at the time, and she came in from oystering all night. She came in about 8 that morning, sat down on our couch, and just bawled her eyes out. She already had custody of one child. Then she had Montana because her mother went to jail for drugs. Then she had Montana. She came in talking to Jenny and me, and she said, I'm too old to raise these kids. I can't afford to raise these kids. I don't know what I'm going to do. And we said, Miss Francis, we will see that you get everything you need to raise these kids, and we will help you raise these kids. Montana, the reason she ended up there, she was wandering around in the street, in her diaper, with it dragging the ground. Her parents were in the house, passed out on meth. Somebody found her, called the authorities. They ended up with Miss Francis, her grandmother. And that's when we met Montana. And Montana has been with us ever since. Here you can see, again, how much she's enjoying the swing set. I like that picture of her and Jenny. I don't know what Montana's thinking. Jenny's obviously happy. But the thing I'm proud of about Montana, she loves to work. Montana's not one to sit around. She gets at the building about 8 o'clock every Sunday morning and early on Wednesday night. She wants, Jenny goes to pick up kids. She wants Jenny to leave her a list of everything she can do to prepare for the service. She's filling up our blessing box. She's filling it up with food. This is after church. She's baking cookies for the little children who are left. We usually have a little ice cream for them. She said, well, today let's have a cookie party. And I said, okay, let's do. So she got in there and baked them cookies. This is the other child. This is George. This is the other child that Miss Francis had at that point and still has. His mother also was in jail, possibly prison, for drugs. And this is the one she already had, and when she got Montana, that's when she broke down and said, I'm too old and I can't afford it. Baptized George, we were trying to remember, it was January of last year. And I tell George all the time. I say, George, you're one person that I know who has put his baptism to good use. I love George. I love George so much. I love George like he was my own flesh and blood. I love him like a son. George is another one. The thing that I am so proud of about George, he wants to work. He gets there at 8 o'clock on Sunday. He loves to get the weed eater out, and his delight is to go around the yard and find one blade of grass that he hasn't already found and weed eat. He loves to get in there and cook eggs. Those are goose eggs, by the way. Next time y'all are down there, you got to have some of the goose eggs. I guarantee you'll never go back to a chicken again. Once you go with a goose egg, you don't go back. They're delicious. But whether he's cooking or weed eating or running a power saw, or sometimes I miss him, we got a leak in one of on the roof. I'll look around, he'll be up on the roof figuring out what he's going to do next to repair that at 15 years old. I've never seen anything like the boy. But I love George so much. And George has been with us since he was 8 years old. And he has never been away from us. He's like a son to us. But I'll wrap up, but I just want to say this. In Psalm 91, David says that the Lord put the lonely in families. And that's what he's done for these children. He's put them in our family. And he's put them in your family too, because you support us. Every year you support us, and that's why you put up with me coming back and telling these stories again. And you support us by your presence. You come and you work, and you bring sausage and barbecue sauce. You do all kinds of things for us, so they're your family too. But it's also worked that way for Jenny and me. Because in 2018, when we came down, swing, and that's what we did. We sat on our porch. We sat in our swing. When we left to come down here, Jesus said, whoever has left family and home and lands for my sake and the sake of the gospel will receive tenfold what they have left. Well, it grieved us when we left our family. Our family lives 10 hours from us. Some of them we'd only see about twice a year. And it grieved us. And for a long time, it really hurt to leave them and leave our home and leave our land. But Jesus is, what a shock. But Jesus is right. We have received tenfold. We've received all this congregation, all the adults that love us and we love them. But you know what I'm going to say? Yes, we left a few grandkids and we left a few nephews and nieces, but we have all these children. It is tenfold. God has put us in their family too. And thank you for letting us be part of your family. And again, I just want to say on behalf of Jenny, on behalf of all the congregation, on behalf of every hungry, sick, dirty child who seeks refuge from the life they live in and seeks the truth of the gospel, thank you for being partners with us. And thank you for letting us come back year after year. Y'all are a wonderful bunch of folks. I'm through. I don't know what we do next. As you go back, I'll give you that, my friend.
Thank you, Brother Mike, for that report on the work that he's doing. Can he do out there? And at least now you're getting a few people to support you out there in the congregation to take some of the load off of you. But that's a wonderful work you do, and it's just great to be a part of that work. I feel like that is money well spent. At this time, we're going to offer an invitation. And if you're here tonight and you feel like you need to come forward for the prayers of the congregation for any reason, or if you feel like you want to give your life to Christ in obedience and baptism, then come forward at this time as we stand and sing.
The burden is too great for me. Bring my grief to thee. The grief I cannot tell. No word shall lead me. Thou knowest all so well. I bring the sorrow laid on me. O suffering Savior, all to thee. O suffering Savior, all to thee. My life I bring to thee. I would not be my own. O Savior, let me be thine, ever thine alone. My heart, my life, my all I bring to thee, my Savior and my King. To thee, my Savior and my King. Is there anyone here that needs to partake the Lord's Supper and was able to do so earlier today? I don't see any hands, so with that being said, we're going to be letting our closing prayer by Brother Walker.
Lord, thank you for this day, and thank you for all you blessed us with. Lord, thank you for keeping us safe and watching over us, and like always, and please help everybody to have a safe trip back home, and please bless them and keep them safe. In Jesus' name, amen.